What's up, everybody? Will Borza here, the LA Recordist. It's the analog vlog. It's a vlog, analog. I'm gonna make this really quick today because I got some mastering to do tonight, but I wanted to address a question that gets asked like at least once a week on all the different audio engineering forums and stuff, and it's sort of a misconception of terms, and I just want to set the record straight. Soundproofing, sound isolation. The question is, how do I soundproof my home studio? Or how do I soundproof my apartment so that my next door neighbor doesn't hear the audio going on? Or how do I soundproof? Those kind of questions. So soundproofing and sound isolation are two very different things. Soundproofing is the idea that no sound enters or exits the room that you're in. Whereas sound isolation is the idea of a room tuned to sound very good for the music that's being played in it. Soundproofing, very difficult to do. Sound isolation, very easy to do. Soundproofing, very expensive to do. Sound isolation, not too bad if you do it yourself. I believe I heard Dave Pensato say that for soundproofing, the idea is, imagine if you were to fill your room from floor to ceiling with water. Where in the room would the water be leaking out of? Those are the spaces where sound will leak out of. And so to create a truly soundproofed room, you want to create an airtight room. A room that water would not seep out of if it were full of water. This is by no means easy to do, and again, very expensive. One of the best ways to soundproof a space is to create a fake room, a room within the room. Floors lifted off the actual floor's walls, separated from the actual walls, sometimes laying down some mass-loaded vinyl, some gaps in between, cement if you can, like multiple different layers of multiple different thickness and density objects, plus null space in like a vacuum. All this stuff is very helpful to soundproof, and it's also very difficult to attain, especially in apartment type situations. Sound isolation, on the other hand, that's where you can use egg crate foam, mattresses, blankets, that kind of stuff to sort of deaden the sound of the room. You put them up against the walls on node points where sound is going to bounce off of the wall and bounce back at your ears. Those are the parts of the room that you want to attack with foam and other different sound deadening things. Again, fairly easy to accomplish and not too expensive because everyone has extra blankets laying around, pillows, that kind of stuff. You can really make your room sound good for very little money with the resources you already have, but to soundproof a room is very difficult and probably not entirely attainable in an apartment setting without getting in a lot of trouble with your landlord. So the best advice I can give to people who want to soundproof their apartment is don't. Buy yourself a rehearsal space. Rent out a rehearsal space. If you're going to make really loud noise in the middle of the night, don't do it at your apartment. Go somewhere else where it's a dedicated music-making space and make the sounds, make loud noises over there. Don't bug your neighbors. There's really not enough you can do in your own apartment space to not bug your neighbors if you're playing a drum set at 3 in the morning. But absolutely everybody should definitely sound isolate your room. Do the treatment. Get your room sounding good, because your room is just as important as your speakers, the placement of everything. The room, if your room is tinny or boomy or whatever, that kind of stuff can be heard by people with expert ears that are listening to your music. They're like, oh, okay, I can hear that you're working in a room where you really can't hear the bass, can you? Anyway, hope this helps. That's my tip. Soundproofing versus sound isolation. Soundproofing very hard, sound isolation very easy. Do the isolation, maybe skip on the proofing and just go and find a rehearsal space if you really, really have to make noise at 3 in the morning. Hope you enjoyed. See you tomorrow. Peace.